Hey YouTube, Freaky Illusionist here. Today I just wanted to go over one of my Halloween projects for this year. Something to add in my graveyard scene that I do. I decided to try out these Costco posable skeletons. In the past I've done like a fourth quality Bucky skeleton, and it turned out great. I'm hoping I can do the same technique and make this look really nice as well. I know that these guys don't have as much flexibility, and I have a particular idea of what I'm going to do with this, so I might have to get a little bit creative. So let's have some fun. Alright, so I got the skeleton out of the box here. I can definitely see that the skeleton doesn't have a whole lot of range of motion. But my whole idea is that I'm gonna have him in my graveyard display, with kind of looking like he's trying to get up a little bit, to put his hand on his knee and reaching out. But obviously, his head's gonna be just facing down, so I'm gonna see what I can do about having it look up a little bit. There's a lot of tension on the plastic, so I don't know exactly what I'm going to do quite yet. And on the back here, you can't really move this back too much. But I know I saw another YouTube video that they used a heat gun on this back spine to kind of, bend it, and I may try that. I'm not sure. But so the first step is to see what we can do there, and then we're going to actually corpse it with pantyhose, and I've got some indoor-outdoor carpet adhesive, and then we'll use some wood stain to actually darken up the skeleton a little bit. Make him look a little bit more dirty, and make him look like he was in the ground. So, alright, let's see what we can do with the head here. Alright, so I actually have 3 of these skeletons. Turns out that they actually break pretty easily, because when I was figuring out what I was going to do here, it just kind of snapped off when I put some pressure on it. But that's actually going to work out good, because what we'll end up doing is actually gluing it back, so then it's kind of, it'll look up more, and that'll be perfect. So what I'll end up using is some JB plastic weld, and the reason why I'm going with that is a lot of times plastics can be really difficult to glue, and this is specifically for a lot of plastics. So hopefully we'll have some good luck with this, and we'll see what happens there. Since the head's off, I'm going to actually hang this up, and we'll just corpse the body first. I'll show you what we do there. Okay, so I've got all the pantyhose on. It's pretty easy to do. What I end up using is actually a 3-pair silky sheer nude pantyhose. I go with the nude because it's closest to the skin tone, so that should work out pretty good. But yeah, for the bottoms, you just slip them on both feet, bring them over. On the top, it was a little bit more of a challenge, because this won't stretch out enough to get over the inflexible arms here, because they'll go out. But so what I end up doing is actually taking apart some of the screws here along the rib cage, and then you'll see a joint that you can just pop out. Start with one arm, putting the pantyhose on, and then continue on the other side. put the arm back in. You know, if you end up ripping any of the pantyhose, that's perfectly fine, because we'll end up shredding them so they kind of looks corpsed up, and you know, some of the bone exposed, things like that anyways. So you know, you don't have to be you know, worrying about ruining it at all. So so next step, we're gonna actually put on some carpet latex, and then we'll let that dry and we'll stain it. Alright, so before we put on the carpet adhesive, we're going to want to pull down the pantyhose over the pelvic bones here. So you've got this, you know, cavity here. So then what you're going to do is you're going to take a razor blade. Now you got to be careful here. You know, I find that just a safety razor, you know, like this works good. Make sure you hold on to it, and make sure that your other hand is out of the way when you are slicing. I usually will take a little pinch of some of it, and then just, you know, score it, and that's where you're going to get some of the, you know, wormhole, pinhole looking texture on it. You know, some of the rib cage area, I'll do a little bit bigger holes so that it does show a little bit more of the rib cage. In the front, you'll see the, you know, some of the wormholes. On the arms, I'll try to go a little bit longer slices, just so that it shows some of the arm bones once the carpet adhesive's on there, just like that. I also like to actually keep the hands without the pantyhose on it, because I just, you know, I think that it reads better with the hands, you know, without the carpet adhesive on it. So everybody sees like the hand bones. Same thing with the feet. So once I finish that up, and you know, you'll do the same thing with the legs here, right down here. Just do long slices where you can see the bone then. So we'll finish this up, and then we're on to the carpet adhesive. Alright, so we have all the cutting done on the pantyhose here. So next up is the carpet adhesive. So I ended up buying this for my last project about 3 years ago. Robert's indoor-outdoor carpet adhesive. And you know, I didn't know what to expect opening it up after 3 years later, but stirring it up actually looks very usable yet. So what you're going to want to do is just take, I find that, you know, just finding an old rag or something like that, rather than a brush, is, you know, probably works just the best. I would put on, you know, some of your plastic, vinyl, latex, whatever gloves to just protect your hands against this sticky, goopy stuff. But all you're going to do, take a little bit of it, and you're just going to start at the top and smear it on. So you just hit all the spots. You can hit bone. You know, if you do hit some of these bones, what I would do is take a paper towel and wipe it off. That way, when you do put on the stain, you know, it's going to look a little bit better. It's not the end of the world if you do get it on. The stain will cover the adhesive well too once it dries. But I think the best effect is just to wipe those areas if too much get on it. So we'll do this whole skeleton here, and I'll show you what it looks like. Alright, so we've got the skeleton all taken care of as far as the pantyhose on it, and then distressed so that it looks like wormholes and bones exposed. And then what we did is we applied the carpet adhesive, and this is what it looks like. As you can see, it looks kind of rotten and fleshy. I'll get you a close up here, what it kind of looks like. So you got the exposed bone look, and then the arms look pretty cool too. Just kind of looks like dead skin that shriveled up. So what we're going to do from here is we're going to take care of the head and get that with the same technique. So what you're going to want to do is take some pantyhose and just cut off a piece that's going to be able to cover that whole head up. So I'll probably cut it right about here, just so that it covers the whole thing. And then all you're going to do is just stretch it over. And then just try to get it as tight as possible on the top so you don't have this loose. So just stretch it. Don't worry about ripping it. If you have a little bit left on the top, that's okay. You can, cut it off, and it won't be a big deal because we're gonna shred this with the razor blade anyways. So now we've got that. And now we're going to take the razor blade. And this is where you can, kind of be creative because, depending on how you want it to look, if you want a lot of flesh on the face of the skeleton, or, if you want it, more bone look like we did with the hands, that's how you're going to, you can really customize it. What I've done in the past is I've usually, I really want the teeth to be shown, and the eyes and the nose. So, each one can be different. You can have fun with it. So, basically just, again, just score the skull wherever you want. Make it look like bones looking through. What's kind of cool is if you lightly take the razor blade and you can kind of get the, little stretching there of the skin look, that's a nice effect as well. And obviously with the eyes, you kind of want to leave those open a little bit. So I'm going to continue doing this, and I'll show you what it looks like once we're done. Alright, so we have the head all done here. I'll give you a close-up look at the details. What I ended up wanting to do with this one is actually kind of have some, once it's got the latex on it, it'll kind of look stringy on the side here. So I think that'll give a good effect. But you'll see a bunch of like wormholes and bone exposed. I ended up just taking the scissors and cutting off the top. And once we put the latex on, that'll be covered up. You won't even notice that. So yeah, just went around and kind of slashed it a little bit. So we'll get the latex on it and see how that looks. We're also gonna, I'll show you what we're gonna do as far as the stain goes on the main portion of the skeleton here. Show you how that looks, and then we'll be close to done here. So we'll get started on the other details. Alright, so for this part, this is where we're going to begin staining the latex. What you're going to want is, some sort of paintbrush. Can be something cheap. And then I'm using an early American Minwax wood finish. I think this is what I used on my previous skeletons, and it turned out nice. Just go with something that's, you know, kind of a darker, dirtier, you know, brown. But you're going to definitely want something underneath to catch some of the drippings. So put some sort of drop cloth, something that's not important, that you don't want, you know, to get dirty. But what you're going to want to do is just you know, start painting it. And what I found out that works really good is once you get some of it on, especially if you get some of the bones here, you're going to want to take a paper towel and just wipe that off right away, because then you'll keep some of that, you know, white bone look. You can wipe some of the pantyhose too, and the cloth, just so it doesn't get too muddy looking. So you do that same technique throughout the whole skeleton, and I'll show you what it looks like after that's done. I'll go ahead and latex up the skull and get the stain on that. I'll show you what that looks like at the end here, and then I'll show you how to connect the head, and then we'll pose it for the graveyard. Alright, so actually I wanted to show you guys, you know, what I did. You know, the top portion is done here, and just to show you what I'm doing with the stain, I'm just brushing all over. Can be the bones. You don't want the bones to look too shiny and white, because if you're coming up from the ground, you're not going to be shiny and white. So just go all the way around it. You don't have to be pretty with how you're putting it on. And then once it's on, just take a clean paper towel and wipe over it. Blotch it up. Make sure you wipe a lot of the bone area, because you don't want it too dark. Make sure you get all sides. And that's what I'm doing throughout this whole skeleton. So I just wanted to show you that, just to make it more clear. Okay, so we've got the head all done here. I'll give you a close-up to just kind of see what that looks like here. So you can see that I left a lot of the area open around the eyes and the mouth, left most of the jaw open, and then kind of left some of the nylon hanging there. I thought that was a nice effect. And then I just cut that excess nylon off the top, and I'll remove this string as well once I'm all done. But next we're gonna actually take some JB Weld here and actually apply that and connect it onto the body of the skeleton here. So before I do that, I'm gonna just take rough sandpaper and kind of score some of the ends here where the two will meet, and then I'll just take this plastic weld and it'll form like a putty where I can just kind of, you know, shape that together, and we'll see how that goes. I'm gonna end up having him look up and probably tilt his head a little bit off to the side, so we'll see what kind of effect that looks like. So I just wanted to show you what this JB Weld looks like. You just cut yourself off a piece, however much you want to kind of work with, and then you're just gonna mold it together. So you just kind of work it, twist it until it's all going to be a uniform color. You know, kind of looks like, or feels like almost silly putty. You know, I would definitely wear gloves you know, I usually put latex gloves on for, you know, a lot of the staining and stuff like that, just so, you know, just as a safety precaution. But I think this will work out good. You need to put it on whatever you're working on within 20 minutes, and then it will fully cure in about 3 hours. So I'll give it a shot. Alright, so I've got the JB Weld on, and I just wanted to show you what it ends up looking like with how I did it anyways. So you just form that putty so it's a uniform color, and you just kind of, you know, mount it around all the exposed areas that you want to weld together. It does stay fairly flexible, so, you know, to get the overall effect that I'm looking for, I propped it up with the 2x4 and ended up resting the head and, you know, just support it until it actually sets. So we'll see how it looks like once it's all set. Hopefully it turns out, otherwise I'll have to, you know, break it and refigure it, but I think it'll look cool. So we'll see what happens once it sets. So I just wanted to show you guys after the JB Weld cured overnight. I just took some leftover nylon and wrapped that around. I actually spread the carpet adhesive on the, you know, little patch of nylon, and just kind of wrap that covering that JB Weld so it doesn't look quite as obvious. And then I'll go ahead and stain it with the same color so it'll blend in. Overall, I think it turned out to be a good effect. Once I get it set up, I'll show you what it looks like, but yeah, I think it looks good. So the last thing that we're going to do is go over how to prop up the skeleton in your graveyard scene or wherever you're going to be displaying it. So what the materials that you're going to be actually needing, you want to get a bar of some sort. You know, you can get them at any big box store. This is Steelworks, 1/4 inch by 6 feet. And the other thing that you'll need is like a vise, because you'll actually be bending the rod so that that it can prop up correctly. So basically what I'm going to be doing, since I'm going to be putting this in just regular ground, I'm actually going to have, you know, the skeleton be kneeling. So I'm going to have this propped right back here, and then that's going to actually go right into the ground here. Hopefully that'll give it enough support. And then what you're going to need is some clamps. I'll show you what that looks like here in a second. So just stainless steel clamps. I usually just get a couple different sizes, you know, just in case one doesn't work. But you can just screw them to tighten them, and I'll just, you know, band them right here, maybe here, and then I'm gonna have, since I'm gonna have his arm straight out, I'm gonna put another one like right around in here and maybe here, so that it doesn't move. So we'll see how that works here. Last thing I'll show you is it displayed in my graveyard scene. I hope you guys like this video. Please like and subscribe.